Hi, I'm Alex and welcome back to the Boathouse Paddle series where we talk about everything concerning paddle. Today we're going to have a look at how to add the price or the pricing information from Paddle into your marketing website, your pricing table, for example. So building on an example from a previous video here, I've got my demo product page and I have a Paddle checkout running here as well, which will show me the checkout as you'd expect. But what I like is on this web page to show that price. Now, I don't only want to show the pricing information that I've set up as the base price in Paddle. I also want to show my localized pricing. So if I have automatic currency conversions activated, or I have a certain country override for price, I want that reflected here as well. And Paddle.js lets you do that. In order to do that, I'm going to head over into Card. This is the website builder for this example. I've already added a text field here and given it a ID of price. I need to give it an ID so I can reference it later in the JavaScript, which we're going to use to load this. The JavaScript example here, it'll be linked down in the description below, is fairly simple. This part above at the top here is from the previous example. This just sets up Paddle.js, the environment, sets it to sandbox because this is a sandbox account, and adds a client-side token to this. And then, ignoring the fetch at the moment, having a look at the Paddle price preview function here, what I do is I pass in the product's price ID with a quantity of 1 here to get that product's price. I can do any kind of information in here. I can add a whole bundle of products if I want to, and different quantities. So you have the flexibility. If your pricing table has like a quantity selector or a wizard or something like that, you can do that with this pricing preview function as well. And then once I've retrieved the results, I'm going to get the elements that I've just added to the page and then add what Paddle returns. Now, this is the formatted total, and this is great. If you pass this information to Paddle, Paddle will return the pricing with the currency symbol, with the decimal point in the right section, and basically knows the rules of how to display that currency, and you can just use that to display. But the question is, how does Paddle know what country to display, what country this user is from? This is where the line here at the top comes into play. I need to pass in the IP address of the person visiting the website at the moment. And to do that, I use a third-party service here called IPify, which just returns the IP address that they see you from. So you as a browser will ask them, what IP address do I have? An IP address is then used to localize you. So Paddle will be able to find out your country based on that IP address. So I'll take that IP address and pass it into the price previewing function. This is the same thing that Paddle Checkout does. Paddle Checkout automatically already shows you the localized pricing in their checkout, but it also uses the IP address to localize you. So we'll use the same functionality on the pricing table that we're going to build. So I'm going to copy this, head back into Card, and in the section, in the embed section down here, where I have the code of the previous example, I'm just going to copy paste this exactly as you saw before. Hit save, publish those changes. And then if I go ahead and refresh the page, now I have a display of my localized price. It takes a brief moment because, again, I have to call out to this third-party service to get the IP address first, and then I have to call out to Paddle. So you'll see the dash briefly. If you wanted, you could replace that with the standard dollar price, for example, so that it gets loaded immediately. If not, if you don't mind that there's a short flash, this is an easy solution to do so. Now, there is a question though. So what happens if I use a VPN, for example, to put myself into a different country? Well, let's have a look. I'm going to go ahead and connect myself to Canada. Why Canada? Well, I set up my special pricing for my Canadian friends to be $1.05, and this is Canadian dollars. And you'll see on the checkout, yes, I also am going to pay $1.05. So the first impression is, well, yes, the VPN apparently has worked, and I am now getting a much cheaper price for this product. Yes, well, if I go ahead and then continue, and let's say I'm going to add. And then I can go ahead and click continue, and I'll get the Canadian price because my country selector is for Canadian. The only problem is if I try as a business to do this, I will get an invoice that says Canada. And I can't add any billing or change any billing information after the fact regarding the country. So, because of course sales tax is all dependent on this country, and in this case Canada even possibly based on the zip and postcode. So in a business-to-business context, the VPN solution won't work. It will actually change it. So if I, let's say, change this to Austria and say, okay, yeah, I'm in a VPN, but I need a invoice for an Austrian business, as soon as I hit continue, it will change to the Austrian pricing, the euro pricing, basically. And this is important because if I want to add a VAT number, for example, and get my VAT discount, that's the only way I'm going to be able to do that. So while VPN is possibly a way to circumvent this pricing, but for a B2B context, it's not something you really have to think about that much. That's all for today. Talk to you soon.